Yo, 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 welcome to HojuKimchi Ep.4.
Yo. Yes, episode 4. What's up? What's happening? How you been, sir?
Good mate, good mate. For the viewers, this is our second take because Boss thought his Penti might have shown in the previous recording.
That's it. Only wear t-shirt.
Yeah. So you actually only wear Fenty when you're working from home?
Mate, barely wear a shirt, to be honest.
Yeah? Yeah.
Yeah,
Are
man.
you ever butt naked?
Oh, yeah, plenty.
Oh,
Plenty.
that's so chat. That can't be a good sign.
No, well, that's definitely not a good sign. But I'm telling you, like, as in, well, first of all, I don't have aircon in my office, so that's does not help in this heat. So, mate, keep it, be free, mate,
Sure,
be
sure.
free.
All
Nah,
right.
but definitely, look, I definitely wear just Benty around the house, like that's
Okay.
the go. Yeah, that is
Okay. All right. Well, I'll try not to have that visual in my head for this episode. But all right.
Benties.
Well, let's start off with a bit of a recap of last week.
Mm.
Obviously we went deep into K-hip hop, one of our favorite topics, and I think the episode ended up being almost 90 minutes, right?
Yeah, look, I really hope it does reach some K hip hop fans, like because yeah, the Missa was like I can't relate to it, so she couldn't listen to it. But yeah, if you're a K hip hop fan, you should like that episode. I think there's someone out there like that, the commenter, like Joe.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah.
Joe is clearly a hip hop fan. So thank you, Joe, for reconnecting with us and leaving some comments.
Wait, so it is the Joe that we know?
Hey Joe, if we obviously had some correspondence with you, but we actually weren't sure who you were. We
Yeah,
do have
we
some
cannot confirm.
suspicions on who you are, but not
Yeah,
100% sure. So yeah, please do leave further comments for us to guess who you are. Yeah.
yeah, we are not 100% sure. Leave a
Yeah,
hint,
we're
like
about 99% sure, but we
yeah,
didn't want
like
to.
leave a hint. Like, did you follow a shit rugby league team in high school? Like, as in, like, if you did, then yeah, that should confirm our suspicions.
Sure,
Pretty
sure.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right, good stuff. Obviously, DH was one who I shared the episode with personally, and it obviously resonated very deeply. So, thank you, DH, for all the comments that you shared privately.
Yeah,
And I
he's your
know,
mate, right? He's your mate
yeah, yeah,
from
yeah,
yeah,
we play ball together, and I know he'll be looking forward to future episodes that go deeper into K-pop, and I actually look forward to having him on one day. So yeah.
easy. Yeah.
Also, yeah, so there'll be more sort of top five things to come your way, not just on K-pop, but just everything. I think it's a good kind of way to unpack some of the topics, some of the things that we really like. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yep.
All right. Should we get into today's topic?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we touched on it in episode 1 and we talked about some comparisons between Korea and Australia. So we
Mm,
thought, okay, maybe it's
that's it.
after the niche episode that we had last week, might be good to sort of come back to a little bit more of a general topic and something especially that Kyoports could relate to.
Yep.
General Kyoports, especially if you're Australian Korean.
Yep.
So yeah, we're going to do a Sydney versus Seoul comparison. This is a massive topic, so we're not going to have time to cover it all. I don't think.
Yeah. I don't think so.
But
No.
we'll just see how we go. Hit the sort of the big, I guess, subcategories first, and then go from there.
I
Yeah.
think so. Yep. I
All
like
right.
the list you've got. So yeah, let's see how we go.
Yeah. Let's start off with a bit of personal context around this. So, Boz, I'll let you kind of kick off in terms of your experience with Sydney and Seoul, and yeah, the personal context you bring to it.
Yeah. I'll keep it brief. So basically, I was born in the city of Seoul City, Seoul Tukbyok-shi, as they call it. But yeah,
Hey, show us the tap, mate.
yeah, Seoul City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolute Dorai tat, but whatever.
Shout out or city of birth, man. Since if just in case I forget. But nah, for real. I was born in Seoul. Yeah, like obviously, and my parents were obviously living in Seoul at the time. and they immigrated when I was like 2 or 3. So pretty much like born in '87 there, and then like immigrated to Australia in like 1990 or something. So yeah, basically, no recollection of that part of my life at all. But yeah, apparently like lived around Mukdong and shit. So like, but this was when like Seoul was dirt poor, like as in that area is fucking super rich now. But oh, okay, well I gotta try stop swearing. But that area was super rich. I mean that area is super rich now, but back when my parents were living there, it was like dirt. Hukpan, as they say, and yeah, my parents just sold everything and left. But otherwise, I would have been like a silver spoon mukdong kid.
Yeah. Just a quick pause there. You said you got to stop swearing. Why is that? Some feedback from friends and family, or
Oh
just
no, no,
from
like
your own
no, no,
monitoring?
no, no, not on that. Just in case one day hopefully we can monetize, and yeah, you can't, there's like YouTube's pretty heavy on it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So yeah, continue on.
Long
It
way
could have
away,
been
but
losing job
yeah, long way away, but might as well get the good habits in now if possible. Yeah.
stuff.
Uh,
Good stuff.
um, so yeah, basically, and then my parents immigrated to Sydney, and I was living in with as we touched on, Canterbury Bankstown area. Lived in Campsie. That was my childhood there, and obviously I'm a
The
Sydney.
doggies.
Yeah, I'm a Sydney boy. Lived there pretty much for like almost 40 years now or whatever. And I lived in Seoul though in my late 20s, from like 25 to 29 for 4 years. So like pretty like the peak of my 20s, I was in Seoul City. So yeah, just putting the
Obviously
context there.
made a strong impression on you because you obviously put it on your body. You don't have a Sydney tat on your body, so there you
No,
go.
no, Sydney's in the blood, but yeah, no, 100%. Oh, yeah, and I went there for a gap year, like exchange year during uni, which was actually the trigger to obviously for me to go back because I fell in love with the city. Yeah, so we can get into that, but yeah,
Yep.
that's my sort of experience where your
Okay.
is obviously quite different.
Yeah, so I was
Yeah.
born in Korea also. I spent the first 10 years of my life in Korea, most of it in Seoul. So I think I was born in like Hwacheon or Anya. I'm not really sure
Mm,
exactly because I
mm,
was just too young. And then I had like a stint in Donghae as well. Donghae in Gangwon-do. So my dad moved there for work and I was there for a couple of years. And then
mm,
as we referred to in our first episode, I kind of from about 6 or 5 years onwards, I lived in Togo, which is in Seoul, like in Gangnam. So that's where I kind of go back to whenever I revisit Korea. I don't go to Korea very often. I visit every 10 years basically. So since coming over here in '96, I've been back 3 times. So not that frequent, but all of my mates still live around Togo, so that's where I go. Yeah, so I've only lived in Sydney in Australia, so spent about 30 years here. And yeah, and then I guess we can get into the nitty gritty of different parts, different comparisons that we can make in those two cities. So yeah, let's because we brought it up before in previous episodes. How about a place to start is infrastructure,
mm.
and I'm referring to your Sydney train comment, and I've had some
Outburst.
I've had some feedback from the audience who agree with your sentiments. I know you kind of corrected your stance slightly in
Backpedal.
episode, but yeah, maybe should we start with like the general sort of infrastructure of those two cities?
Yeah, that's a good one. So like I also want to say like whenever I put stuff up on my Instagram about like Sydney trains, like whenever like I have a bad day with the Sydney trains, I just get like really shitty. It gets the most reactions. Like I could,
Oh, okay.
I could put up really cute stuff of my kid, which gets the second most reaction, but the first most reaction is Sydney trains, man. Like
Okay. A
I
lot of
mean,
people hate on it, eh?
yeah. Like so, like the kid stuff. Then obviously people like parents relate to more, so there's reactions there. But like the Sydney trains is just relatable to pretty much most of my friends, right? Who
Mm,
are all working, right? So
mm,
and most likely working in the CBD in some capacity.
yeah.
So yeah, like they just like and all on my side as well. Obviously, they're like, I don't get like any. Oh, we should think about this. The trains and stuff. It's like full on, like like yeah, man, like it's just really hurting us. Yeah.
Yeah, I must say, considering how rich we are, Australia, like top 10 or top 15 in the world, and how advanced we are, and all those kind of metrics or whatever. Considering all of that, the quality of trains, specifically about trains,
Yeah.
I don't think
Okay.
I can, yeah, comment on just general public transport, because I think all in all, it's quite well connected. You
Mm.
can get to most places on public transport, unlike the US, for instance.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But the quality and the standard of trains is pretty shit, I would say.
Mate, has it even changed since we were kids as well? Like, I mean, Metro finally, but like that's just recently, right? Like Metro is recent,
Mm.
like 2, 3 years recent, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, like, yeah, fairly recent. But I think people get the shits on how frequent it's late or cancelled, and how it actually impacts their commute, right?
Not
That's
not the Metro. Like you mean like Sydney trains? So we got
Yeah, yeah. Well,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I kind of see it all in one
yeah.
one thing, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Metro is different. It does run differently, like two Sydney trains. Yeah, it's driverless. I don't know if you knew that, but yeah,
Yeah.
you did.
Does the metro not have issues also, but it's just
Oh,
nowhere
look. I
close
only
to Sydney Cruise?
well, I don't take it that much. I'm new to it as well.
Mm,
Like I
mm.
never needed to use it before, but yeah, I've had no problems with it. Like as far as I'm concerned, it's similar to like Korea, where like it just runs like every 10 minutes or whatever. So you don't wait that long. Like obviously it's
Yeah.
not as good as Korea, but it's like compared to Sydney trains, like way better. But anyway,
Yeah.
let's talk on the train. So let just disclaimer it, like Metro, we're not talking about. It's too new and we're not used it. Like,
Yeah, but how can we make the comparison? So, what are we going to talk about? Just trains in Korea, then, not talk about the jiacho?
oh yeah, no, fair call. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, what we're probably used to. I mean, like, Metro's new, man. It's not like it's been around for so long. Like, you know what I mean. Like, Sydney
Yeah, yeah.
train is what we should concentrate on. I mean, Metro
Sure,
only
sure.
cover a little bit.
Sure,
So
sure.
let's just say Metro, we're getting there. But like,
Yeah.
Sydney trains has been like really, yeah, like a pile of. Let's just be honest, a pile of dog shit for a long, long time.
Hey, are some trains still not air conditioned?
Yeah, yeah, easy. Like, so there's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
some of
So
those old trains, man.
some of the lines going into the
Like the
shittier
windows
suburbs, they're not air conditioned.
It's no good, man. It's no good.
That's
But
pretty poor. That's pretty poor. And yeah, some of the trains are very run down, and of course, there's the issues with the train drivers striking, which is kind of what's most, um, I guess, recent in our minds, with the shittiness.
yeah, and just the state of them as well. Like probably the qual. Like I know some of the new trains are fine, but yeah, as you said, some of the older trains like no aircon. Like some of it's quite dirty, yada
Mm.
yada. And I guess you can't control the public as well. But like I wouldn't say that. I haven't been like you've probably been to more countries than me, but I wouldn't say it's up there in terms of like public, sort of the social unwritten rule of how to use it. I guess that stems from different cultures and stuff as well. Not saying we're all like, we're all bad cultured or anything, but it's just maybe the melting pot of cultures.
That's a good one to go into. Let's talk about shitty behaviors you've seen on trains. Okay, firstly, like, on where I lived most of my life, it goes up to the Central Coast, and there's like these Central Coast shekis, um,
The
who,
Adela's.
run amok on the train. So that's one. And then, I was one of them as well. But the high school kids
The
who
high school
just like,
kids, the worst.
yeah, who just take over trains during those hours, and they're just so loud. And
Yeah, they're kids, but yeah, they are the worst. But
yeah,
they're
and then
kids. Yeah.
the ones, you're probably impacted during your commute, especially in the morning,
Yeah.
when it's all the 직장ins and stuff on it. And then, do you get people who like listen to shorts loudly?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Like, this is the thing. Okay, so maybe it's a new thing, but like, so when I was in Korea, like, and this was, 10 years ago or whatever, like roughly, 7, 8 years ago. So, it was not a thing. Like everyone would have earphones in, right? Just like out of just public courtesy. Um, it,
Rip that.
That's what I'm saying. So it was very rare to see someone do that. Like even like Shekis wouldn't really do that. Like odd, odd here and there. It maybe happened like the whole time I was there. Maybe like I can count them on my fingers how many times that happened. Here, you could just every train ride. There's just some Sheki playing this shit.
Is it
Yeah.
because more people are watching stuff on their phones than before? Like, I can't fathom the fact that people started using their earphones less. That's just that just doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, and I'm talking like all demographics. So you get like first of all, you get the kids who just bumping their music on Bluetooth and shit. So
No, 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 I'm not talking about them.
yeah, I
I'm
know.
just talking.
Yeah, I know. And first of all, they don't even bump good shit lately anyway. But and then like you will have like old like some old Asian lady just bumping the fucking shorts super loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually in their native languages, more like Chinese or whatever,
Dude, I
or
had one
Korean or
happen. Did I
whatever.
tell you about that recent? So a couple of months ago, I was on the train to City, and then there was this Korean lady who was blasting out this shorts thing that was like a news announcement type of thing on something about BTS in Korean. She was listening to that shit over and over again. Like, it was in English, but it was about BTS. And she was listening to that shit over and over again. And she was Korean. So I went over to her and
Yeah.
I'd want to hear
Oh, here we go.
how you manage this as well. But I went over to her and I just kind of like tapped her gently.
Yeah,
And she was like full focused on this shit. So she had
yeah,
no idea that I was coming, I was approaching her.
yeah,
And then it like shocked her when I tapped her.
yeah.
And then she was like, and then I was like, oh, 이거 진짜 많이 시끄럽다고. I told her it's quite loud. And she was like genuinely shocked. She's like, 그렇게 시끄러워? And then I was like, yeah, the whole carriage can hear you. And then I think she like toned it down slightly. But yeah, no, this shit pisses me off good, man.
Oh yeah, don't like. So I've stopped doing that because like I just was like, I can't be bothered anymore. Like I used to like, it used to just piss me off as well. So before, like there'll be people eating and shit, like hot food, like straight up, like going like home, and then like they'll just like have some takeaway they got. Like
I'm fine with that.
nah,
Sometimes you got to eat, man. Like
nah,
eating is an essential thing. Like,
no bueno, man. Like that, but like it's like full on, like bloody hot curry or whatever. I'm just like, man,
pe-
what's going on?
people have to eat, man.
Nah,
It's,
nah,
unless you're
I'm not.
eating like durian or some shit, it's fine.
Nah, I'm not down for that. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I don't really see that in other places that much. But like, look,
Yeah.
okay, I don't mind if you're having a sanger or something, whatever. Like as in, just keep it like relative. Like you know, think about others a little bit. Like one, think about others like 1%.
Yeah, no, and this is interesting, isn't it? Like, even just amongst the two of us, we have different standards on this.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
this is whenever something pisses me off in public transport, you kind of get into your mind and go, oh, should I say something? Should I not? Is it like, am I overstepping the boundaries if I say stuff and all sorts of thoughts?
yeah. I just don't bother anymore. Like I just
Yeah.
try to like block it out, go to a different carriage noise.
Well, that's the thing with this lady. I was trying to block it out. I was like, I pumped out the volume on my AirPods, and then it was kind of throwing that. So I
Yeah.
was,
Yeah, you just gotta move. You just gotta move. Well, okay, so so that's one thing. So trains like behavior, like as in, so you've been to the US and stuff like that. Like when I was in New York, it was like nothing like wild that I've seen on like like the socials and stuff. But it was, yeah, it was just you know like whatever, like similar to
China was
Australia.
pretty bad.
Huh?
I was on a bullet train in China,
Yeah.
and there was some like Konda kind of guy on his iPad
Oh,
watching a
okay.
movie on full blast. But you know what? People do it on freaking on planes now as well. I can't believe it.
Mm.
I
Well,
had to tell someone off who like, on a recent flight. Um, yeah.
what's funny is like I don't understand why no one like says shit or no one's like bothered by it. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, isn't this fucking
Of course
annoying?
they are, man. They
Yeah,
have to be, but
yeah,
it's just like the culture that we live in where people don't want to say shit to each other.
Yeah, well, just these are the times you just want to be like some mad like UFC like hectic like fighter where like you just know like you could snap him if if shit goes down, right? But
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, but yeah, okay, so that's one. But back to the actual infrastructure of the trains. Yeah, like I would say, Sydney's poor, right? Like overall, we
Hang on, no, but well, we need to compare the behavior in Korea, no? Like, what are Koreans like? Do they just all sleep?
Well, back honestly, I don't know how it is like now, but so we're talking when I was there, let's say between 2012 to 2016, give or take, right? So back then, honestly, it was just like really good behavior at back then. So like as I said, but this was before the whole, everyone's just trying to get shit viral now. So everyone's
Mm,
like filming, everyone's doing like shorts content and stuff. So this was before that, before like shorts and reels content. So there was just people just listening to, it was more predominantly people just listening to music actually. So that was kind of back then. These days people are actually watching.
yeah,
It was more like people listening. So people just have the earphones in and like either
yeah.
sleep or just like chill out. Like that's what people would do. Like, but now you see people on screens or playing games or whatever, right? So
I'm sure there
yeah,
would be like 할머니, 할아버지들 are watching shorts loud on their
yeah, like exactly. So I think Korea would be the same. Like, yeah, it's just more wild. You get like, so you get like wild shit, like maybe people fighting or like someone pissing and shit, someone chucking a shit. Like that shit happens here, right? Okay, like
Oh, okay. I haven't
yeah.
really seen them. I spewed on one of the trains when I was very
Yeah,
drunk.
yeah, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, yeah. But like, but in saying that, that probably does happen in Korea as well. Like, I mean, you know what I mean when people get heaps drunk or whatever. So
I might have spewed on a train in Korea too.
oh, there you go. You're spewing everywhere. But yeah. So, but rather than the behavior. So let's say behavior. Let's call it equal, right? Because like the world's, as you said, sort of changing, and maybe we're like from the era where we gave more of a shit about the public, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So let's just say it's equal-ish. But like in Korea, I will say this: people don't care about you as much, so it's good. So like everyone just like rather just listen to their shit on the earphones and try not to like interact. Whereas here,
yeah,
there could be more trouble because maybe, as you said, more confrontation and more like people perhaps may look for trouble.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah.
Whereas I think that's less there. But in terms of infrastructure itself, as in that as a service, obviously, like yeah, Korea's way better and has been for a long time. So that was like that, like for 20 years, and we've just caught up now. And
Yeah,
super
Korea
hard.
obviously has its advantage just being more sort of technological. They like technology more,
Yeah, like Asia, yeah.
and just higher density as well. So it just makes sense for that kind of infrastructure to be better. It's more densely populated than Sydney. So
Yeah. So okay, let's just give that a tick. So
yeah,
infrastructure trains, Seoul, internet speed, we don't even have to talk about that. Like like Australia's like really hopeless compared to the rest of the world. I think everyone knows that. You get
mm,
like famous YouTubers and stuff who come to Australia and like they don't expect it and they're like, oh, my upload, like the download's not as bad, but it's the upload that's a killer. So like, because they upload like tons of content and the upload is
mm,
just like shocking. Like, because it'll be like almost 10 times slower than the download here sometimes with some connections or 5 times slower, right?
mm.
I think it's gotten a lot better now, but yeah, it's, when, back here when we were using like ADSL, like this is shocking. Like people are already on broadband in other countries, you know what I mean?
But does it really cause any major discomfort to the general public? I've never been a victim of like it's never been that 불편해 for me. It's supposedly slow, and but obviously comparing to Korea is just unfair because Korea has world class internet speed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So
So,
unfair
but like
comparison. Yeah.
for the general public, is it a big hassle?
No, no, I think Australians also don't give a shit as much. These days they're
Yeah.
more like the younger gen. They're more into it, like computers and like games and online gaming and all, latency and all that. But certainly in our generation, like a lot of, I'm sure you got the same. A lot of like my white mates and stuff, like they didn't even have like PCs. Like they couldn't give two shits. Like they would game on like their PlayStation, but they wouldn't really use a PC. You know
Yeah,
what?
honestly, the biggest discomfort I would have had is when we were using modems and we're playing StarCraft and someone calls and you kind of think you're like,
Yeah, like dial up. That's
it's
dial
like
up.
30 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. So I think yeah, to the general pop it's all good, but like is it world standard? No, but does it affect the gen pop? Probably not.
Yeah, I think the train issue is like way more impacting the general public than internet speed. Yeah.
Yeah, and also internet speed just for regular people, like unless you're like a heavy content, creator or whatever. I don't think. Yeah, I think we're all good there now as well. Safety, safety,
Yeah.
safety, safety. Okay, so this is a hard one because like sexual crime in Korea may be higher than sexual crime here, like as in particularly man attacking women. But that also could be maybe skewered differently now. Maybe there's more attacks here now too. But like certainly over the last, I would say 20 years, you would say there would have been more sexual crime in Korea, right?
I have no idea. I think
I have no
you
idea, but
hear more about it,
yeah,
maybe,
yeah,
and or maybe you hear more about like the serious cases, especially the serial rapists and
yeah,
killers.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, in terms of an actual rate,
We have like no research.
hey,
We have
yeah,
no
no,
research on it.
no, it's fine to just go purely on anecdotes and how
Yeah,
we
just like face
feel.
value.
I don't know. Would a girl feel? And yeah, let's just talk specific. Okay, let's firstly talk specifically on like sexual violence and shit. Would a girl feel more safe in Korea or Australia?
So yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, just because it has like
Both
let's just
very
say a
safe
higher,
countries, mind you. Like we're compared to the rest of the world, both very safe countries. I would
yeah,
say.
like both super safe countries. So, but since we're just comparing Seoul, let's compare Seoul and Sydney. So, I
Oh
would
yeah.
say in terms of Seoul and Sydney, you'd be quite equal safety.
I have a feeling I would feel safer in Seoul.
I think Seoul in terms of like it's got like dude, it's got CCTVs everywhere, like
Yeah,
everywhere, like all the main
and
streets.
people everywhere also.
Everywhere, people like so for something to happen like in a dark alleyway, like that doesn't happen. Like that honestly doesn't happen. Like in
Yeah,
terms of
whereas here, I would feel that there are certain suburbs where I wouldn't want my girlfriend to be walking around by herself.
yeah, yeah, like Epping. No, no, but yeah, no,
It has happened in Epping, by the way. You know, there was like a body found in a garbage bin years ago.
like what, like 60 years ago?
Korean body.
Oh shit.
So there was like some domestic shit that happened, and then they chucked the body in the garbage bin. You know, like the household garbage
Yeah,
bin.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the fucking red bin. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And this stuff like was like down the road from where I used to live.
Shit.
Rough suburb, mate.
All right, right,
Yeah.
Epping. There you go.
What about when I think of safety, and maybe it's like more around trust and things like that. So when I spent a couple of months in Japan, and one of the things that really made an impression was people just leave shit out,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
knew you were gonna say
expected
that.
that no one's going to take it. There's no
Yeah.
theft. People just don't take stuff that's not theirs. If someone loses it, it will eventually find its way back to that person. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah,
think
that's one thing I miss. That's one thing I
about
miss about Korea. So like you could go to the cafe and then you just put all this shit out on your table, like your laptop, your phone, and all that shit. And then like when you need to chuck a piss, go to the piss, come back, or no dramas, right? But like here, you just like, oh man, like do I really leave my MacBook out here? Like depends where you are, but you just it's in the back of your head. So you're like, unless you're at a
yeah,
library, you're kind of like packing it up, right?
yeah. I usually try to leave shit out as like a gesture of trusting the public, and I think it can have positive impact in the world because I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
just being
my dad just got his bike stolen, so mate. Yeah, it's like just yeah. In terms of that sort of safety, but okay, let's go back to safety of the cities. I would say both extremely safe. Would you say like pretty equalish? Like here as well. Like unless you're like gang related, you're safe, right? Like Sydney, you're safe.
Mm.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah. So yeah, there's different areas of safety. Yeah, like as you said, there's more gang stuff, so you're probably more likely to be shot
If
in.
you're involved in like,
Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but then maybe yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
dude, there hasn't really been any like general like as in just like a random like random citizen getting shot like that hasn't happened.
unless
Yeah.
it's for terror stuff.
Mhm. Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah, okay. So
yeah,
all right, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay. No, both cities maybe in like top 5% in the world for
yeah.
a sec.
Absolute safety. So I think we can move on from there. So infra, yeah, I think that's covered. Pretty much like let's just keep it like Seoul, way more technological. You know, Sydney probably behind the times, but hasn't really affected the general population too much. I think trains is the big thing. Yeah, trains.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep,
No, that's a good sort of summary to
yeah,
on to the next one.
yeah. Let's move on to people, 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 people.
Very broad. We can let's just talk about I guess the general vibe when you're kind of on the street and when you walk past people, like what kind of vibe you get. I'll just start with Sydney and you can talk about Australia, about Seoul. But
Yeah,
depending on the suburb, I guess it feels like there's more of the people to people connection. Sometimes when you meet people in the lift, you would say hello. Well, well, in my building, we do. Whereas maybe you won't get that in Korea. So like, I guess people are less busy, more laid back. Um, in saying that, Sydney's meant to be one of the more commercial, more busy, like less human city in Australia. But even considering that, it seems to be more human than Korea. So yeah, that's in terms of general vibe. I'll kind of just comment that.
yeah. So basically, would you say like so for so as you said, Sydney's meant to be more like the soul of Australia, pretty much. Like or Australian Sydney's meant to be like the arsehole city, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I still
So
say
yeah, so basically, when I was growing up, though, Sydney was awesome. I felt like it was much smaller and friendlier. I guess, like honestly, I do feel like it's probably like people don't give a shit about each other
Mm.
anymore as much.
Mhm.
I noticed that a lot when like you're driving now. Like seriously, people don't give a shit. Like when you're driving.
Roads have gone pretty shit, I would say.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the road. That's what I mean. Well, then kind of intertwines with infra. Like
Mm.
roads are shit here. I'll say like completely shit, and like the infrastructure of like car parks and shit, like it's really outdated. So
No,
like,
no, no. But when we're talking about roads, yeah, we can talk about the infra as well. But the driving behavior, yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, driving behavior completely, and like so one thing me and my mister get like a bit like what the f about is like you go into car park now and like on the weekend, bro, like it is hardcore in Sydney. Yeah, you go into a shopping center, it's hardcore. We're talking like bumper to bumper if you go in peak time for like grocery shopping or like a Westfields or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And like
Hey, you're speaking too close to the mic.
oh, okay, all right,
Yeah.
yeah, and you got like every demographic there. Okay, so you got like oh, you got a mic? I just realized
No,
you don't have your headset.
no, no, no. I'm going off. I think I figured that the webcam mic works better than the this.
Okay, yeah, fair call. Yeah, so yeah, basically I was yeah, so you got every demographic now on the weekends in some of the centers. So you got like young families like me, the miso, bubs, babies, and then you got like teenagers, and then you got like oldies, whatever. It's jam packed, and then like like bumper to bumper, like dude, people are like reversing out, or people are going to park, and these car parks they're designed that you cannot like when someone parks, you can't pass. It's some of the new ones, it's so tight. So you
Mm.
literally have to wait for the car to go like eek, and then reverse park in.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like people like are beeping the shit out of people in there. I'm like, why? Like you think that the person's like deliberately trying not to get out of the car park or trying to hold up the car park? Dude, like people are gonna move. They're trying their best, man. Like people aren't deliberately wasting time. They're not fucking around in there. It's just
Maybe they're being shit at it. Maybe they're just doing it like complete noobs and taking way longer than what's expected.
yeah,
No?
I'm sure there's a bit of that, but like
Yeah.
there's just like zero tolerance with that.
And then there's people like right at the back who have no idea what's going on, where right in front of them where they can't see. And
Yeah,
so they're
yeah,
just,
yeah.
like expressing their frustration. No, I'm not justifying. I'm just
Yeah, but it's
devil's
common sense.
advocate.
Like, if you're at the couple, what do you think's happening? Most
Mm,
likely someone's parking, or they need to, you know what I mean. Someone's getting out and whatever. Like, so there's definitely that. But
mm,
I do feel like people do need to like probably hustle now. Like, people are taking a year and a half to like put the groceries in the car. Sometimes you just go put it in, get out of the car park, to help everyone out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, sorry. Got a train going past my house. No, I think there is definitely a difference in driving culture. And I think it's an East versus West thing. Um, in that, so when I recently went to Vietnam, and it's difficult to compare Vietnam to Korea, I suppose. But there are certain differences in that a lot more 융통성, a lot more flexibility, tolerance, and just general lack of um regard for rules.
Yeah, like
Well,
organized chaos. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Definitely, like it's just, and they're totally comfortable with the chaos. Whereas here, because we're in the West, um, we need to stick to rules. Like if someone does some bullshit shit on the road, they'll be told about it. Whereas I think in the Asian culture, you kind of like tolerate it, but it's just like kind of whatever.
well,
Do,
I got
do,
a
do you feel
theory.
that?
Yeah, I got a theory. I feel like, and this can go deeper rooted. So homogenous country versus
Yeah.
multicultural. I feel like everyone's got a different set of patience, different set of tolerance, a different set of, as you said, what is considered okay to like let go, what is considered not okay to let go, like whatever, like,
Mm.
things like that. That's why I think people get mad pissed off at Asians who like, how they suddenly put the blinkers on and like let the wife out of the car or the wife hops in the
Yeah,
car.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
like,
That's a good example.
like people hate that shit, right? But like in Asia, it's just so like, it's like it's all good. Like as in everyone does it. It's like I'm gonna do it one day, so you can do it today. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah, but
yeah,
but it's already established that you don't do that shit here. Like
yeah, no,
there's
no, you
there's very
shouldn't.
clear rules and boundaries and like regulations against that. So when someone goes against it and does this takes shortcuts, it's not accepted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're told about it.
So yeah, well, I think that touches on the multicultural thing as well. So yeah, like
Mhm.
overall, like I think Sydney's gotten shittier, but it was definitely way more friendlier growing up. Seoul, as you know, is more like, um, you know, I don't know. I don't want to know about you. You don't want to know about me. Like there's no stranger interaction. Everyone just sticks to who they know
Mm.
predominantly. And this is again, I lived in Seoul 10 years ago for 4 years, so things may have changed. I'm just everything I talk about Seoul is that from that experience. Yeah. So, but yeah, so it was more like you don't fuck with each other. We're here, it's like, say me and you're catching up over for a beer. So here's a good example. You can be like, "Oh, hey, mate, I'm bringing like a high school mate as well. Like we had planned to catch up as well. So we're just gonna have a beer together." And I'd meet like that high school mate. Like it'll be all good. It'll be like, "Oh, hey, fucking, Joe Blogs, how are you? Have a beer together, whatever." I mean, whether we get along or not, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you can, sometimes you don't, whatever. But it's like I would be, generally speaking, like people would be cool with that. In Korea, like that is a no go. Like if me and you had plans, like you can't just be like, "Oh, hey, I got Joe Blogs from high school that I'm bringing as well." Like it generally doesn't fly with Koreans. They don't like that.
Sure, you sure about that? I thought the 합석 문화 is more Korean. And like when I don't want to confine it to like just 합석, okay, when you're like hitting on chicks or whatever. But yeah, like a mate's mate, a mutual, not a mutual friend, but a mate's mate kind of introduction. It's not really, doesn't really happen in Korea.
No, that's, as you said, more for like intro, like as in like girlfriend boyfriend intro. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
like, but when it's like mates, mate, from my experience, it wasn't like really something that they wanted to do. Some of
mm,
them more like this is the thing about Korea as well, like because there's so many people who've lived overseas now as well, or UXNs, or like parents' jobs, they've gone overseas. So like there is a difference between people who've been like never left Korea. Like the whole upbringing was in Korea. They don't speak English that much. They've never hanged around 외국ins that much, let alone Kyopos.
yeah,
They like it's that's on the end of the spectrum. Whereas some people now they're like, oh, Thailand. They went to high school in Thailand or the States or whatever, and they're back. So there's a lot of those guys as well. So they're in their
yeah.
own thing as well. They've got a whole nother like it's not like
외국물 먹은
yeah,
애들.
외국물 먹은 한국 Koreans, like that's a whole nother subculture too. So those guys would be all good,
Yeah.
right? Like, so if I had like a Korean crew who were more like Korean, like, and I would be like, oh, I got like another mate, like can he or she come, they it'll break the dynamic. So
Yeah.
yeah, they don't like keep
Yeah,
it.
I think there is that general difference, and again, I'm gonna go to refer to like the East versus West. In that the Western culture has less boundaries to the outer circle. It's like a more of a blurry boundary for the outer circle, but at the same time, there isn't a strong inner core boundary either. Whereas Koreans or Asians, they treat their inner circle tight and just don't give a shit about anyone in the outer circle. And I think
Correct.
it's very particularly strong, especially in Chinese. So when you're comparing the Asian spectrum, Koreans are somewhere in the middle of that. Chinese just treat randoms like shit, but they would go to the ends of the earth to take care of your friends and family. And then
Shishini,
Japanese are
shishini,
on the sorry, what's that?
shishini.
Japanese are like a lot more like Western people in that regard. They care about etiquette and like how they behave in the public forum and all that reputation and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
would you
but
agree with
behind
that?
closed doors.
Hey,
Oh,
hey, 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 you can't diss the Japanese in front of me, eh? Chinapa.
oh yeah, Chinipao. He's gonna report me. Nah. Yeah, no, that's a fair call. Like that's the thing with I've been to Japan. Obviously, you've been to Japan. Like super friendly, man, super friendly. But like let's be honest. Like objectively, there has been some history there. You know what I mean. Like factual history there that like we don't want to go into, but
No, no, what are you talking about? What history are you talking
no,
about?
like factual history of like what they've done during wars and stuff.
What's that got to do with like what we're talking about in terms of
No, no,
treating the
no,
poor and
no,
public?
no, I'm saying like they've done some, like every country has, obviously, but they've done some particularly like horrible stuff that, but then like, as in, uh, as a whole, right?
Yeah, go on. Why are you trying to tiptoe around this shit? What are you trying to say?
No, but I'm saying like, but like in super public and in super like as a general holistic sense, it's like super polite, super clean.
Hmm.
Like they clean up after like stadiums and stuff. But like
Yeah.
yeah, but like it's just funny how like it must have you know it had it.
You shouldn't be talking about war. What you're trying to say is shit like there's the chikan stuff. You know what that
What's
is?
that? What's that?
Like groping on trains and shit like that.
Oh no, 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 no. I'm not talking about. I'm just talking like as in like that as a whole. There's been some like horrible stuff, but like
Yeah.
the public image is not so, if that makes sense.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we want? Do we want to go into the LGBTIQ stuff?
Well, I mean,
Like how we treat minorities or the whole kind of diversity and inclusion type of thing?
yeah. Well, I think as a whole, as a overall, and you can elaborate. So I think like obviously West generally obviously way more accepting and has been that way. Like obviously it's ramped up in recent
Mm.
times, but like generally it's been way more accepting, and that's how I was growing up here.
Mm.
But in Korea, like my parents are from, they're children born from the war, like, from the Korean War straight after. So like this is old school. Like this is like, you know, people gotta know. Like I don't try to tell my mum and dad to be woke. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna do that. Or like try to be like accepting because
Mm.
they grew up like, are you kidding me? Like Korean War, like my mom used to tell me like she used to have to eat like fucking, flour in water and shit. Like that, you know what I mean? Like she used to walk like 5 kilometers like fucking to go to school or whatever. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna tell
Yeah.
them like, oh, you have to accept it's 2024 now. Like I don't do
25 actually.
2025 now. I don't do that to my folks. You know what I mean? I let them be. So, um, so yeah, in terms of like career is obviously changing as well, but there is that heavy generation of like anti, anti LG, what's it called? LGBTQ. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We're running out of letters anyway. Hey, I have a pretty juicy question that we can
No,
probably.
what's your take on it? What's your take on it? So, like, my take is like Korea is there less accepting, and
Well, so I guess Korea being a very homogenous society, and very not multicultural, so naturally, and also the whole historical context of being around superpowers, so they need to like bond or band within themselves to fight against the Chingers and Japs
yeah,
and
yeah,
everyone. So they're just very insular and they're not very good at accepting anything, any external influence. So whether it's to do with ethnicity or just sexual orientation or whatever, anything that's beyond the tradition or the norm, they're not very good at opening up to it. So yeah, I do want to talk about this. Who's more racist, Koreans or Aussies?
oh, oh, oh,
Yeah, that's
who's
a good one. Yeah,
this? Koreans or Aussies? That's a tough one.
I'll say Koreans, man.
I'd say Koreans, man, as well. I think Koreans are
Yeah.
more racist than Australians.
Yeah, and again, as an extension of what I was talking about, they're just not used to dealing with other races. Like, basically, everyone's an. Okay, I think it's an exaggeration to say everyone's an enemy, but you know what? I'm happy. I wouldn't say happy. I'm okay with the racism, but I am not okay with how they treat different races. For instance, like the because
That a
Korea got
form of
looked out with
racism?
by the Americans, there's the whole white supremacy, or they treat white people mad. Like, two a white person and a black person will have completely different experiences in Korea.
Well,
But
it depends on which crowd they go to, but yes, to the general population, yes, yes.
yeah, no, yeah, and we're just generalizing, right?
Yeah.
So and say the way that they treat Southeast Asian laborers or something, like Koreans are racist to the shit, man. They have this very clear hierarchy of races, and I find that pretty disgusting.
Yeah, well, okay, so I don't get so you're okay with the racism, but you're not okay with that part. But that is the racism, is it? That is the racism, right?
So if you're racist, you should be racist to everyone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I gotcha. So you,
Yeah, no,
you just
I'm saying it makes it even worse.
yeah, makes it
Something.
worse. Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, well, but I mean, I agree partially. Basically, one thing I don't like is how I think Koreans think they are the superior Asian race. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
And also we are, so that's okay.
No, no. I don't believe that. I really don't believe that.
Okay, well, I do. I am very racist by that. I'll just put it out there. There's so much shit that I can't say on this that are actually in my mind. But anyway, go on.
No, well, I don't believe that for one.
Yeah, I'm kind of joking, but anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, well, as in like in terms of
I'm
like,
partially joking. They're like, I do feel that we're quite a superior race in many regards. In saying that, like, there's so many things I hate about Koreans, but I think that's for another day. But
well,
anyway, go
that's
on.
what I mean. But like that's what I mean. What are the measurements? Like like that's like with anything. Like Australians are superior race in swimming. Like you know what I mean? They are superior race in
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So like, first of all, I hate like that trying to rank all that shit for one. So yeah, that's what I mean by superior. Like superior, unless like you're gonna be like a superior as a whole, we're just better or some shit.
hey,
Like
don't give me this shit. Like, we both know that there are certain races that we feel are inferior, hands down.
like
Don't pull that thinking face. You know it.
no. But like, okay, no, for real though, in what aspect is what I want to? Okay, so for example, like this is one thing that that like I like to use, right? So I know where you're going with. So for example, like we grew up because I think our parents they like kind of don't they like racist towards China a lot, right? Like you know what I
Yeah,
mean? But like
yeah.
if you compare like the economic power and like the pull on the world, like fuck, we're not even close. Like
Yeah, absolutely.
we're like a little piece of mosquito to China. So like that's what like used to like shit me. They like you know what I mean? Like my parents would be like, like back then, like growing up, oh yeah, like China sucks or whatever.
Yeah,
And then like but like you know what I mean? Like globally, we don't even compare in that aspect. That's what I mean by like when
Mm.
you say like, where like Koreans inferior superior. Like that's the part that shits me. It's like like yeah, I can't really articulate what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
The very fact that Koreans would think that they are superior is what shits you.
Well, like in that's one example. So like,
Yeah.
so like, oh, China sucks in whatever. But then
Mm.
like, it's like, what are you talking about, kind of thing? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, and also like, I'm just not huge on like, oh, like this race is better at this race, and like, I've never really bought into that.
Yeah, no. I think generally speaking, like every race has their pros and cons, that was strengths and weaknesses.
Mm.
I'm just saying that like within that there are certain ranks ranks.
Yeah,
Well, that is racist as shit. As I realize, I'm hearing myself talk, but anyway, I think we can probably go into that a little bit in more detail later on. I
okay.
don't think
All
we
right.
have
Well,
time for it.
should we go to part two now? Go to part two now. Oh shit! It's